Good morning, family. This is Ken with Wisdom is Currency, coming to you guys on day 13 of walking in the journey. Man, I mean, these days they're starting to roll, right? Wanted to come and just spend some time with you guys here. Today is the 11th of January. And listen, man, we're like New Year's seemed like it was like just yesterday, and we're already halfway through the month. So if that's any indication, we got to get this thing going, right? Before we know it, it'll be February, March, and then December 31st again. But that's a side note. Listen, just wanted to come to you guys as always. First of all, I want to thank all of you who have joined us in this journey, and not only thank you, but I want to welcome you, right? Because this thing is positioned, and it's positioning us to, I believe, it's positioning us to actually receive God's best in this season, right? And so I want to very quickly, if you're just stumbling on this video for the first time, you're like, what in the world is he talking about? I encourage you, if you can, go back to like day 1, 2, and 3, so we can kind of talk about, how we got to this point and where we're going. And I also encourage you to connect on the various platforms. We're on YouTube as Wisdom is Currency, TikTok, Facebook, of course. And we're actually preparing to launch our podcast, which is Wisdom is Currency. And the overall goal of this platform is to help you guys achieve wealth, right? And wealth, as we define it here in our Wisdom is Currency family, is balance between God, health, finances, relationships, and time freedom, right? Again, I'll say that again. We define wealth as relationship, as balance between God, finances, health, relationships, and time freedom. I believe that those key areas, those 5 key areas, are at the heart of God's desire for us. And I believe that if we focus in on those areas, that we truly will receive the fullness as God intended for our life, right? So again, connect. Some great things on the horizon. We're going to launch a series called Creating a Cycle of Wealth in Your Life, where I'm going to teach you some systems that God has shown me over the years to actually help not only help you create a system of wealth in your life, but it's also by default going to help you break any curses that you may have had on your finances. It's going to help you break any resistance, break through any resistance that you've noticed in that area. And it's really some simple but yet profound stuff, some tools that us and believers that God has given, but we just don't know. And for a long period of my life, I walked in error. God gave me some instructions and I didn't do it. And finally I gave up, said, God, I'm going to do it your way. And once I did, he fulfilled his promise, which was he showed me the secrets to mastering time, which also meant that he's shown the secrets to achieving wealth. And I want to share a lot of this stuff with you guys. And so the whole purpose, even in this journey, the walking in the journey, is to chronicle the journey, right? Over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, I'm going to live a lot of the principles before you. And so I'm going to teach and live at the same time, right? I'm the type of guy I believe in leading by example, right? I don't want to just tell you something. I want to show it. And over the next 2-3 years, you guys are going to see us build a business basically from the ground up. It's going to become a multi-million-dollar business. And I'm not saying this to brag or any of that crazy stuff, but this is what God has shown me. And but it's not enough for me to do it for myself. It's the purpose here is to be able to lay the blueprint, to be able to show other believers how to tap into our resources and to be able to do the same. So I want to encourage you guys to join us. And as I always say, listen, this is not about me, right? Because as we go, God may give you a vision and a strategy completely different than what he's given me, right? This isn't about you joining my business. It's not about that at all. It's about us learning the principles and walking the journey together. Again, as I always say the old African proverb, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And this journey is this life is a journey. And so we have to be prepared to go over the long haul. and it's easier if we go together. All right. So again, that's just kind of some housekeeping stuff. I want to kind of try to keep these videos short, but one of the things I want to talk about today, man, is one of the five tenets in our wealth pursuit, right? And again, wealth, as we define it here, is balance between God, health, finances, time, freedom, and our relationships, right? And one of the things I want to talk about today is relationships. Now, we could explore this in a lot of different ways, but there's three key areas that God has been dealing with me about, and I want to just discuss it, right? So, relationships, man, relationships is so key to enjoying a full life, a fulfilled life, right? And that's why I think that relationships is such a priority, or should be such a priority, especially for us in this day. Often, we get so caught up, and I know I have. I mean, in a big way, you get so caught up in trying to provide and trying to do whatever you can do that in a lot of cases our relationships go lacking, right? And so often. You have people, unfortunately, they go through life, and by the world standard, they may accomplish a lot. But I'm gonna tell you, man, on the deathbed, you're not really concerned about how much money you have in the bank, because you can't take it with you, right? You're not concerned about how many cars you got in the driveway, because again, you can't take it with you. I think many people in those last minutes, those last hours, those last days, they're really going through their mind, and one of the things that they really think about is their relationships, right? And what kind of impact did they actually make while they were here on the earth, right? And so, we don't want to wait until our deathbed to start reflecting, because if we have health and life and breath in our lungs, that means that God gave us an opportunity, and he really wants us to focus in on relationships. And a couple of areas that I think for me, even in interpersonal relationships, I have a brother and I have a sister. And of course I'm married, and what I find is I've been feeling that it's important to strengthen the relationship within my siblings, right? My brother and my sister. Hopefully they'll get a chance to even hear this video. But it's and don't get me wrong, we've had a good relationship, but it could be better. It could be a lot better. And anytime that you want to have a relationship, it's going to require time, and it's going to require time and effort. And what I'm finding, though, is that it's the little bit of effort that counts. You know what I mean? Not so much the grand things, which we want to maybe at some point build to doing grand things. But I've made an effort even over the last days of, what, man, I'm just gonna send my brother just a text every day. You know what I mean? We were talking, and there's some things he wants to achieve in his health and things of that nature. And, I think I said, you know what, I'm going to every day send him a text and, give him a little bit of encouragement, a nudge about, some things that he wants to accomplish, and encouragement in his health. Just little things like that. And if I be honest, it doesn't require me a lot of time to be able to strengthen that relationship with him. I mean, it's just a matter of just, picking up a text. But we had an exchange here this morning, simple exchange, 2 or 3 texts, but I could feel it. You know what I mean? I could feel not only myself being, strengthened with him, but I could also feel, without him saying, that he appreciate that little effort. You know what I mean? And so sometimes the little efforts go so far into help developing our relationships. And, one of the, first of all, we need to go into it not even really even expecting anything back, but just out of a genuine love for each other. But the truth is that if we invest in those healthy relationships, the benefits, the residual effect coming from that little bit of effort, that little bit of time, that little bit of investment comes back to you tenfold. I mean, I can't even imagine. And so this season for me, I want to focus on doing those things to really improving relationships, with my siblings, and even with the parents, and just little things like that, making those little investments And again, it could be something as simple as a text. It could be something as, we're all in Dollar Tree, just picking up a card. It don't even necessarily have to be something in it. If you're in a position where you can put something in the card, God bless you, do it. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of times, man, like the old saying goes, the thought that counts. Invest in those relationships and don't take them for granted, and again, when I'm telling you, I'm telling me, right? Most of this stuff, whenever I'm talking to you guys, the truth is, I minister from a place of conviction. I minister from where I am. So if you guys really listen to me when I'm talking to you, I'm telling you exactly where I am, right? But yeah, I mean, just really investing in those relationships, man, is so important. And our natural relationships, if you have siblings, if you have that cousin, that uncle, spend a little bit of time developing and cultivating those relationships. And I'm telling you, you're going to be better for it. So that's the first area when we're talking about relationships, family, right? The second area, which, man, I tell you is is incredible to me, is if you have not at this stage of your life develop a relationship with a mentor, I'm telling you, let this year be the priority for you to do so. Mentorship is, I'm finding, one of the most underutilized, and undervalued resources we possibly could have. What is a mentor? A mentor is a relationship with someone that someone who is in a position and doing something in an area that you want to do, and you create a relationship with that person, right? And I've had many mentors from a distance. Like, I've had many people, my pastors and things of that nature, and they have served as mentors in my life. But I've never really had that personal mentorship, right? And I'm almost 50 years old, right? I'm almost 50. I've never really had that person, or sometimes you can have more than one, but that person where I say, well, this is a person that I respect. This is a person that is doing things in an area and in a way that I hope to achieve one day. And this is a person that I'm going to reach out to and establish and build a relationship. And I'm going to tell you, mentorship is so powerful, because if you find the right mentor and you're willing to build that relationship with that mentor, and you're willing to submit to the leadership of that mentor, and submit from a standpoint of be held accountable, right? A great mentor is going to pull and push the best out of you. A great mentor is going to undergird you and find out what God has, and a mentor is going to use their resources, their skills, their wisdom to be able to push you in that direction. And I thank God to say that I have a mentor now. And the truth is, I actually reached out to this person probably about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and asked them to be my mentor. But if I be honest, let me close these blinds before the sun comes all the way up. Yeah, before that sun comes up and destroy the exposure. I need to start doing that. But anyway, but a mentor is going to use their resources, and they're literally going to pull the best out of you, right? And I thank God now, and I lost my train of thought, but I reached out to the person who's my mentor a couple of years ago, and I asked him about being my mentor. This is someone, again, this is one of those people who God put in my life 20 years ago, and he poured heavily into me, right? And then, I still kind of followed him and followed his ministry, and he's made a bigger impact on my life than I even think he knows. But, I finally got to the point where I was like, you know what, I want to ask this person to be my mentor. So I called him like 2 years ago, and I asked him, and like I thought he would, he told me, yes, mentor you. Now, here's the thing. When he told me that, I really wasn't ready. I really wasn't ready to be mentored, right? And it's and I know it's funny because, like I said, I asked him, and I was sincere when I asked him, but I don't think that I was really ready to yield completely to the call. I don't think that I was really ready to completely submit myself to him as a mentor, and ultimately be held accountable, right? I really wasn't ready, and so one of the things when you have a mentor, a good mentor is going to push you, and they're going to guide you, and they're going to encourage you. But listen, most mentors, they ain't got time to drag you to a place you ain't trying to go. They want to help you go where you want to go, but they don't. A mentor, especially someone who's effective in their own life, they ain't trying to babysit you or anybody else, right? And so when you come and you seek a mentor, you have to really value their time. You have to value their time. You have to really respect the impact that they can bring on you. And so when you come, you have to come with a certain level of mentality of, listen, I'm asking this person to pour into me, to push me, to guide me as much as they possibly can. And you have to be fully ready to go. And if you ain't really at that point yet, don't waste people's time. Because these people still have their own life. This particular person, man, I mean, I'm in awe because he's a pastor of a church. He's a husband, and he's an entrepreneur himself. He has his own media platform. I mean, his time is valuable. So anytime that I'm asking him to spend with me, it's time that he's taken away from the things that he has to do. And so you have to be willing to really value that time and be in a position where if they give you assignments and give you guidance and all those different things, you can't be slowful and procrastinate. You got to be willing to jump on that stuff immediately. 2 years ago, I wasn't at that point, to be honest. So I reached back out to him here recently, and I told him, I said, listen, I know I asked you this before, and but I'm asking again now. And I acknowledged, I know I asked you this before, but I wasn't ready, but here I am. And he had been watching the ministry even as we started the rollout here, and he had been watching. And this is how God connects you, right? And he told me, he immediately he shifted into mentor mode, started speaking words, man, and telling me and encouraging me and solidifying and confirming the vision. And and I'm gonna tell you, we talked for a little bit, and then we reconnected, and I spent about 30 minutes on the phone with him. I think that was like Thursday or Friday of last week, 30 minutes on the phone with him. And when I tell you that this 30 minutes, literally, it blew my mind. I mean, this man poured more into me in 30 minutes than I can't even, I don't have words for it. I mean, when I look, and immediately he went into mentorship mode. He started making book recommendations. He led me to start following particular podcasts. He asked me about my goals. He told me, because he wanted to be able to understand how to drive and how to pray, so on and so forth. Gave me some assignments, all within about 30 minutes, right? And I'm like, yo, I got off the phone because I immediately created a little log. Like every time I talk to him, my goal is I'm writing down everything, like every time, and what my goals are. But in any case, within 30 minutes, he shifted me up, right? And I was amazed because, and this is again what I'm talking about, the wealth hidden in relationships. The information that he gave me within 30 minutes was based off of his 40, 50, 60 years of living, right? He has made, he had some success. I'm sure he has had many failures, right? Both public and private. And he was able to consolidate a lot of that time and give me some instructions of what he knew and what he's found to work within 30 minutes. Now, I have to execute what he told me, but the benefit of being able to consolidate 30, 60 years of living into 30 minutes of wisdom and instruction, you can't quantify that. You cannot. And that's the power of mentorship, right? Finding someone who's going to bring that best out of you. Now, I want to talk about something else, and maybe we got to do a whole nother segment, I think, about mentorship, because I can go on and on about that because it's so important. But, in the area of relationships, finding a mentor, I can't tell you how important that is in this season. And I can't tell you how impactful it will be if you seek God, ask, and submit to the right mentorship, right? And I want to tell you something, and then I'm going to move on. Don't don't limit God in terms of who He chooses to be your mentor, right? The person that He chooses to mentor you may not be the person that has the grand stage. It may not be the multimillionaire. It may not be this person who, the world views as this incredible person. That may not be your mentor. Your mentor may be the person who, they're stable in their family, and they are a man or a woman that simply have a wisdom that God has given to be able to impart to you, right? And so I just want to caution you, right, to, in the pursuit of your mentorship, don't look for mentorship don't look for a mentor that is great by world standard. Look for a mentor that God has given specifically something to pour into you, and look for a person who will be able to pull the best out of you, right? And so I want to encourage that, right? And with that, I want to move on, right? The third area of relationships, right? And again, I want to kind of go because I've been talking a bit. Remember, again, we're pursuing wealth, right? Let me just kind of make sure we're in the same ballpark. The one of the 5 tenets in wealth is relationships, right? Wealth is balance between God, health, finances, time, freedom, and wealth, right? So the last couple of minutes, we've been focusing on relationships in a few key areas in relationship. The first thing we talked about was developing and strengthening relationships within family. Second thing now we're talking about is developing a relationship with the proper mentor. And now the third thing that I want to talk about, which is something that my mentor led me to. One of the things that he told me to do was he gave me a website. It's called Kosher Money, right? I mean, it's not a website. It's a YouTube channel, Kosher Money, because we were talking about understanding finances and understanding wealth. And in our 30-minute discussion, we talked about wealth consciousness, right? Wealth consciousness. And one of the websites, one of the YouTube channels he told me to go to was something called Kosher Money. And Kosher Money is a podcast, and it's done by Jewish Americans. And they discuss money, right? They discuss money. And if you ever look within the Jewish culture really has a relationship with money that is profound, right? God has really blessed the Jewish people in the realm of money. And I say this with all due respect. Please don't come for me, right? I'm just saying this from my perspective in my years of living. I have never seen a broke Jewish person. I have never seen it, right? It seems to me, and I think if we go through scripture, that in the area of finances, there is a special grace that God has given that people. And when my mentor turned me on to this particular podcast and I'm looking at it, one of the things that I begin to notice immediately when I'm listening to this podcast is that not only the host, but as a culture, the Jewish peoples, especially on this podcast, they had a different relationship with money, right? It's a different relationship. Like, I think for most of us, like, we look at money as an exchange mechanism, and that it is, right? Where we make money. Money allows us to purchase products and services, and it's an exchange relationship. And that is true, 100%. But it seems to me, and the more I'm listening to even this podcast and listening to their culture, they have a relationship with money that's on a different level. It's really an interpersonal relationship. They have a relationship with the spirit of money, right? And again, I can't go too much into this because we're going to do a full in-depth teaching about this. But they have a spiritual relationship with money. You can tell when they talk about it, right? And they understand that money is spiritual, right? And when they're talking about it, it's it's not just in a superficial, natural mechanism kind of way when they're talking about money. They're talking about money as though it's a person, it's a force, it's a spirit within their life, and they have a deep understanding of how to interact with that spirit of money, right? And so again, it's a relationship, right? And I think one of the things that we need to do is ask God to develop our relationship with money. When I've been listening the last couple of days, it began to challenge me. What is your relationship with money? Do you only talk to money when you need it, right? Or do you have a relationship with it where I understand I understand and appreciate your power, your influence. I respect you. I honor you. I speak kind to you. I reverence you. And it's this real deep interpersonal relationship. So I'm going to encourage you. Again, we don't have time to get into this, but begin to ask yourself, what is my relationship to money? What is my relationship to money? Right? Because a lot of times, I'm going to close with this because this video is going a lot longer than I thought. A lot of times, that was an area that I really had to start addressing when God began to give the revelations about wisdom as currency. There were some things that I began to ask myself and some thoughts about money that I'm like, okay, where did I get that from? Like, where did I inherit that belief about money? I'll give you an example. Let's make it practical. You know, so often, I think subconsciously and even consciously, we've been taught to demonize people who have money, right? Think about that. We've been taught that the wealthy people are rich, and if you're wealthy, you must have done something to get that wealth, and that you abuse people and this, that, and the other. We have been taught to have a negative relationship even when we look at wealth and wealthy people, right? But where did that come from? Where did that come from? I think even, you know, as a Black American, I think even through slavery and things of that nature, we were taught consciously and subconsciously that anyone who has money is the master, right? The master has the money, and the poor people don't have the money, right? And so I think there's some things even during slavery that we have been taught in our relationship to money, wealth, and power that kind of still is affecting us even that slavery is abolished. You understand what I'm saying? And so we have to go back in to challenge those mindsets in concern to money and really challenge some of our thought systems and understand, okay, where did I get this from? Is this in fact valid, right? And really rebuild, reframe our understanding of wealth and money. That's good. And shout out to my mentor. That's one of the first things he said. I had to develop a wealth consciousness, right? Which it means he had to shift and improve his relationship with money, right? So again, we're focusing on relationships today, right? But we're going to talk about a lot of other stuff. I want to close this video for now because I don't even know how long it is. But before I do, I want to encourage you guys. Again, if you have not listened, I'm telling you, tap into the platform. There's some stuff about to happen. It's going to be major. And I want to grow with you guys, man. The party is better if we're all getting it, right? Is that everybody is doing well and prospering, the party is better. I want to connect with you guys. And, I just can't wait. All right. So let me close with that. And again, this is Wisdom is Currency. I'm Ken, Coach Ken, Brother Ken, whatever you want to call me. And I'm excited about what's about to move forward. Stay tuned. We're going to release the date today about the wisdom or creating the cycle of prosperity in your life. That teaching series, you want to plug into that. Go on the YouTubes, go on the Instagrams, do all that stuff. But even more importantly to that, let's connect, right? Shoot me an inbox, shoot me a text. Hey, Ken, listen, man, I've been watching what you've been doing. I'm interested. Tell me more. I'm a real dude, right? It's not Big Ken and Eric. Nah, this is our journey. And I believe that what God is going to do is going to benefit everybody. And I just can't wait to connect with you. All right. So with that, you guys be blessed. Again, remember, wisdom is currency. Stay tuned. And I can't wait to connect with you guys soon. This is day 13, by the way, of walking in the journey. Right. I can't wait to connect. And let's get it going. All right. Take care for now. currency, everything began to change.